Good evening, race fans. This is Rob from the Area 51 Racing Podcast. Tonight is episode 60. I am going to be doing the race report recap for Homestead Miami Speedway from this past weekend. Along with, we'll be discussing Jeremy Clements Racing's race results from the past weekend. The three series NASCAR Top Series races from this weekend, the results, and Kyle Larson's dominance this whole weekend. Basically, almost was close to a clean sweep of winning all three series races. Plus, he won his dirt race in his own high limits racing series on Wednesday this week. So he almost had a clean sweep on four series races this past week. And then we're also going to talk about my opinion on the current topic this week of where I think the final race for the championship should be for NASCAR, if they should keep it at Phoenix or if they should rotate it between tracks. So on that note, let's get started. We'll start with the truck race. Truck race was a decent race. Miami Homestead Speedway is a worn out surface track. It's really abrasive, and it's a track where it wears tires. So you have to take care of your tires, and the people that can run up against the wall, like Kyle Larson, for example, if you're familiar with dirt racing, it would be like ripping the cushion in dirt racing up against the wall. That's the fastest way around that track. Kyle Larson has got that down to a science. And pretty much my information for the truck race is Kyle Larson dominated the race, and he ended up winning the race. As far as the Xfinity Series race for Jeremy Clements Racing, this week's report is brought to you by Elite Towing and Recovery. Elite Towing and Recovery is a small mom and pop owned business by Jamie Smith and his family. They're a towing and recovery service in Spartanburg, South Carolina. They offer 24-hour towing and vehicle transportation services. Give Jamie and his team a call if you're in that area, you need any of those types of services. Also, Jamie and his company are sponsors and partners of Jeremy Clements Racing. They do the transporting of Jeremy's cars for parades to events and appearances Jeremy is at, along with to and from the research R&D center and the body shop, etc. So Jamie keeps very busy and is very involved in Jeremy Clements Racing and is an integral part of helping Jeremy and his team out. Elite Towing also is a partner of our podcast. We thank Jamie and his family for the support of the podcast. And like I said, tonight's episode of my race report for Jeremy Clements Racing is brought to you by Elite Towing and Recovery. Practice for the Xfinity Series was on Friday. Surprisingly, Jeremy's car was a hot rod right off the hauler. The only adjustment they did is they put a piece of tape on the grill, and it made the car a little worse than it was when it came off the hauler. Jeremy was happy. They ran two runs. The first run was 12 laps. Second run was 5 laps. And basically they just, like I said, had the piece of tape removed from the grill and made a couple adjustments for qualifying, and actually called practice early because Jeremy was so happy with the car. So it was very promising that they were going to have a good qualifying run. Unfortunately, they qualified P22. Ended up the car was too loose on the corner exit, and Jeremy said he couldn't get into the gas to get grip off the corner to move forward. Saturday was the race. conditions completely different than on practice on Friday and qualifying on Friday. The track was a lot warmer. It was sunny out, so the sun was baking down on the track, making the surface warmer. The temperature was warmer, and then the sun was out. There was no clouds making part of the track in the shade or whatever. So the track was a little warm and slicker. So as a result, Jeremy's car was extremely loose, unfortunately. Stage one, he ended up finishing P25 during that stage on lap 10. I know this is going to be hard to believe by a lot of Jeremy Clements fans, but the number 27 car of Jordan Anderson Racing, driven by Jeb Burton, in turn one, got into Jeremy's car and pinched him off in the corner, causing Jeremy to take evasive action and made his car slide sideways, which hurt his right rear tire. The reason why I said not being surprised with Jeb Burton is it seems like every year Jeb Burton, for some reason, and his car caused some type of an incident anytime they're in the vicinity of Jeremy Clements Racing's car. And I don't know why that is, but it's like he has a magnet to Jeremy's car, sort of like last year with Brandon Jones as well. That's another driver. Fortunately, this year, there hasn't been any issues. Stage two, again, car continued to trend in the loose area. It was loose off in the corner and off the corner, and then was a little tight in the center. Case Kallenbach, Jeremy's crew chief, made some adjustments, but they just couldn't get the car to where Jeremy was comfortable driving it, and the balance was good. As a result, the leader of the race, Kyle Larson, passed Jeremy, put him a lap down. At the end of the stage, for some reason, Kyle Larson backed way off, coming off turn 4, and allowed two cars that he had just lapped to pass him by to get back on the lead lap. As a result of that, Case Kallenbach and Jeremy Spotter, RC, both were discussing on the radio that by Larson doing that, there was no reason for him to slow down. He wasn't avoiding anybody because he was way out in front. That was, in their opinion, race manipulation and a reason for Kyle Larson to be penalized by NASCAR. And they brought it to NASCAR's attention, and apparently NASCAR didn't agree. And there was no penalty to Larson at the time for doing this. And then this week, I didn't see any penalties issued against Kyle Larson or the race team he was racing for, Hendrick Motorsports, for race manipulation. Stage 3, Jeremy ended up finishing the race P26, 2 laps down. Again, car continued to be loose, and he continued to battle a loose car, and the balance of the car being off and not being able to get the car handling well. And as a result, he got lapped again by the leader, Kyle Larson, towards the end of the stage 3. With 8 laps left to go in stage 3, a caution came out when the number 54 car of Tanner Gray blew a tire and hit the wall. Kyle Larson was checked out. He had at least an 18-second or more lead on the field. I mean, he had the race wrapped up unless something catastrophic happened to his car where he blew an engine or ran out of gas or blew a tire and hit the wall or something. Yeah, he definitely would have won the race. I mean, he was by far the strongest vehicle out on the track, and easily, like I said, would have won the race. Unfortunately, when the 54 car blew a tire, when he spun, Jeremy slowed up Jeremy Clements, I should say, slowed up his car to avoid hitting the 54, and he got rear-ended in the back end by the number 25 AMN racing car driven by Harrison Burton. Burton hit the rear end of Jeremy Clements' car so hard that it knocked the bumper cover almost off the back of the car, bent it up. I don't know what the bad juju is with the Burton last name, but in this race, they both were weapons and caused some damage and issues for Jeremy Clements Racing that should not have happened. Then under that caution, Jeremy radios in that he locked up the brakes to avoid the collision. And at that time, he thinks he flat spotted the tires, but also his fuel pressure was dropping and then the car shut off. Exact same scenario as last week. Jeremy radioed back shortly after saying he was able to finally get fuel pressure back and start the car. Case and Jeremy talked back and forth. They decided to stay out for the green-white checkered instead of coming back in because they didn't want to lose any more spots to, I think it was 6 other cars behind them. There was only, I believe, 5 cars on the actual lead lap at the time of this caution with 8 laps to go in the race. That's how fast Kyle Larson was in this race. It just crazy. And on the restart, the number 41 car, Sam Mayer of the Haas factory team, was behind Kyle Larson's car, and Sam Mayer misjudged when Larson was going to go. Mayer jumped the start and rear-ended Larson's car, lifting the wheels off the ground at the rear of his car, so he couldn't get traction. That way, or that resulted in Larson not getting a good restart, and that allowed him to Justin Allgaier to get past him, along with Sam Mayer and Austin Hill, and Larson dropped back to P4 ultimately. And Justin Allgaier ended up winning the race. He goes back to back. He won last week, and then he won this week. And then again, by winning this week, because he qualified, Allgaier qualified last week for the Dash for Cash, he got a $100,000 bonus. The 4 qualifying drivers this week for the Dash for Cash for this weekend's race at Martinsville is Justin Allgaier, the number 7 Junior Motorsports Chevy, the number 41 Sam Mayer Haas factory team Ford, the number 21 RCR Chevy driven by Austin Hill, and then the number 00 Haas factory team Ford driven by Sheldon Creed. Again, they're qualified this weekend at Martinsville. The top finishing driver out of those 4 will get a $100,000 bonus. And then the top 4 drivers that qualify or finish at Martinsville will qualify for the next round race in the Dash for Cash series. Can't remember if it might be Bristol, but I can't remember. Whatever the next race is, I apologize, I didn't write it down. So again, basically the results of the race for Jeremy Clements were pretty much mirrored of the race results of last week at Las Vegas. Unfortunately, finished laps down in P26, and as a result, he dropped 2 more spots in the driver's point standing, and now he's in P22. Hopefully they can get things turned around here quickly. Unfortunately, they've had, after the first 2 races, they were doing really well. They were P7 and then P9 in driver standings, and then things have went south since then. Good juju's got to be coming for Jeremy and his team, and hopefully this weekend it starts in Martinsville. The paperclip, very, very unique short track, the shortest track on the NASCAR schedule. It's a fun track to watch. Tune in this weekend. The race is at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. on the CW. Jeremy Clements race car this weekend is a throwback livery to the famous Martinsville hot dog stand and hot dogs. The primary sponsor on the car is Kevin Whitaker Chevrolet. Go on Jeremy Clements Racing social medias to check it out. Kevin Whitaker Chevrolet, I'm sure they have it on their social media. They usually do throwbacks to Dale Earnhardt Sr., Dale Jr. cars. This year they changed it up a little bit and did it to the legendary Martinsville hot dog stand and the hot dogs. The livery is really spot on, awesome looking, unique car. And Michael Michelli, the artist at the livery, again, like I say every week, knocked it out of the park. The Cup race, I mean, the only thing I can say is Kyle Larson, again, he was the dominant car and won the race. And he actually, like I was saying at the beginning of this podcast here, Kyle Larson went 3 for 4 this weekend. If it wasn't for that caution with 8 laps to go, he would have won the truck race, the Xfinity race, the Cup race, and then he won the Kubota high limits sprint car series race at Tulare Thunderbolt Speedway in California. So the 4 races he was entered in this past week, he won 3 of the 4 and should have won all 4. I mean, this guy is uber talented. I mean, no matter what he gets in, he can win. I think he could get in a pedal cart race car and probably win in that. I mean, it's just crazy. And I obviously I'm being a little facetious and sarcastic there, but I mean the kid is unbelievably talented and I don't know. It just you don't see somebody like this come along too often. The other thing that was cool this week, any Kyle Busch fans saw that at the beginning of the week, I think it was Monday, Kyle Busch put out a cryptic tweet that on X that said, join in tomorrow or something along those lines at 18:51, which would be 6:51 p.m. in military time. And because he had an announcement and people were trying to guess. I thought maybe he was going to bring back KBM and do a Cars Tour type race team for him and his son Brexton to race in, but at this time use it as a pipeline for Chevy drivers for RCR and Spire Motorsports, both teams that Kyle currently drives for. That would have been cool, but I was not right. My other thing was I thought Kyle was going to race in a Legend Series race against his son Brexton because they recently had practiced against each other in their Legend cars. But it was announcement where Kyle and Brexton on Wednesday night, I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday night. I can't remember which night it was, but this week they raced against each other in the 600cc winged micro sprint race at Millbridge Speedway in North Carolina. Brexton got bested by his dad. His dad, Kyle, I think finished P6, and I think Brexton finished P9. From what I understand by some of the stuff that I saw, that Brexton was doing really good, and at one point got to Kyle's left rear, but wasn't able to pass him. But that's cool to see in and of itself. A lot of these drivers, like Kyle Larson's son, Kyle Busch, his son, I think Clint Boyer's son. I'm trying to think of the other ones. There's a lot of current and former NASCAR drivers whose kids all are into racing, and are Kevin Harvick, Keelan Harvick's son, Keelan Harvick, I'm sorry. is another one. They're all the future of this sport, and it's cool to see that their dads and their families are getting around them to keep their legacies alive in their name and their legacies alive in the sport of racing. The last thing I want to close out with is there's been a debate recently, this past couple of weeks, I guess you could say, in NASCAR about where the final championship race should be held. Currently, it's at Phoenix Raceway. Prior to that, it was also at Miami Homestead or Homestead Miami Speedway. I don't know. There's good and bad on both sides of the argument. With this current gen Cup car, in my opinion, the best racing has been at Atlanta, but now Atlanta is an intermediate super speedway track, so I don't think NASCAR would ever want to do the final race at a super speedway track because of the intangibles. But in my opinion, that's Atlanta has been always the best racing since this new gen car, Cup car. But if it was me personally, in my opinion, I would love to see the Bristol night race, a short track in the last great Coliseum. It's like a throwback to the Gladiators battling it out to win the championship. The only issue would probably be that time of year. It could be potential really cold weather or inclement weather that could prevent the race. But I think it would be an awesome race to see because you have to control your tires and be careful you don't burn them up. And with the pit road, you can go a lap down real easily or two on a pit stop, a green flag pit stop. So you got a lot of things that could come into play where it puts in the hands of the drivers and the crew chiefs to figure out and ultimately determine who the better driver is that's going to win the championship. But that's just my opinion. If anybody wants to comment when I post this to our Facebook page, your opinions as to where you think you would like to see the championship races go, go ahead and post that. I personally grew up short track racing fan. That's my favorite type of racing. But that's just me. I think a lot of these bigger tracks, the racing isn't as great, especially with this current gen Cup car. Field gets way spread out too far, and then it just is, I guess, in lack of better terms, boring racing. And I don't know. I think the shorter tracks, a mile or less track, would make a better championship race. Maybe Darlington, that would be a good track. Richmond, another good track. I mean, all tracks where you would have to, take care of your tires and be on a good fuel strategy that would come into play. I think that would be a good choice for a championship race. Plus, NASCAR is also talking about rotating now the championship races from track to track every year. Apparently, there was a rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, that NASCAR had sent some drivers down to Miami Homestead, or Homestead Miami, I should say, Speedway, to do a promo for next year's championship race being there. So going back to where it was before it went to Phoenix Raceway. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Shoot us a comment on our Facebook page when I post the link to this video. And I appreciate everybody listening, joining in. And before I go, I want to say Tuesday night, our episode 59 of our podcast, my mind is still like just churning and and going in circles with all the information and knowledge that Phil Combs gave to us and shared with us. I mean, the man is a time capsule of NASCAR history, and has the Phil Combs is the curator and owner of the Combs Family Museum at his property in Shelby, North Carolina. If you're in that area, send Phil a message, and you definitely want to check it out. I mean, the man has history from the beginning, basically the beginning of NASCAR, to when they were racing on the beaches at Daytona to current time and everywhere in between. And the man has a story for every piece of memorabilia, photos, newspaper articles that he has in his museum. It is amazing. And so I would suggest, one, checking out our episode 59 of our podcast, and two, if you're in the Shelby, North Carolina area, get a hold of Phil and message him and schedule a time to go check out his museum. I guarantee you won't regret it. I know Bobby, Dave, and I, when we go to Charlotte in September, we're definitely going to go visit Phil and check out his museum in person. Totally looking forward to that. I'm obviously a big NASCAR fan, and I love NASCAR history, and I love being able to share the sport and the history of the sport with everyone. Like I said in our podcast the other night when talking with Phil, it allows the newer generation to learn about the past of the sport and to keep the history of the sport alive and going for generations to come. So again, thank you for joining in this evening. I'm Rob. This is episode 60 of the Area 51 Racing Podcast. I thank you all for joining in and listening. We'll see you next Tuesday, April 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central for episode 61 of the Area 51 Racing Podcast. Thank you all. Have a great week and have a good night.